Uyabuya. Awethu. 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 Awethu.
Thank you very much. We must go inside and do the right thing. We are all going to vote for Kabazela as our president. When we leave here, the ANC is going to have a newly elected president. And that president is none other than Zweli Mkhize. We are also going to elect a new deputy president. And that deputy president is none other than Paul Mashatile. We are also going to elect only one secretary general. That secretary general is Pule Mabe Punished. Only one first deputy secretary general. That is Deputy Secretary General. And that is Ronaldo Nolumango. Please come And yes, of course, comrades, it's us here. Adwele! Adwele! Because it was accused of eroding what are the values of the organization. We did not agree with the CR17 campaign, especially where it related to the use of monies. We still don't agree. Comrades, I have accepted Comrade Cyril as the president of the ANC, but I don't agree with the tendency. I don't agree with the tendency by some who supported the president in 2017 when the notion of CR17 became dominant. It is that notion which made others to see the role they played to now believe that they can become officials of the ANC. That is
whenever they go to the public, they tell us the people are angry with us, we apologize, this is what we're going to do in fixing all these problems. At some point people were saying Jacob Zuma was corrupt because he's not educated. And I would point to Mugabe to say Mugabe is one of the most educated presidents in the world. But if you hear a narrative about him, they will give you a narrative that he is corrupt. You understand? So, and it's very difficult to prove corruption. It's very difficult. A case in point, in fact, let's talk about this. Did you guys watch Clement Manyatela mopping the floor with Pule Mabe? Pule Mabe is a champion spokesperson. Champion. I used to say this when Zizi Kodwa spoke for the ANC. I say Zizi Kodwa is a very good spokesperson. The problem with that is, no matter how good you are, it depends what you are spinning. So you can't spin everything out of a mess. I mean, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. So I think, well, as a media practitioner myself, I think the mistake Pule Mabe did was, and this is where the interview went south. You know, when you have defenses, you can't have a media defense, a political defense, and a court defense. Pule Mabe steps out of court. He addresses his supporters, Jacob Zuma style. And then from there, he veers off his script. And then he starts saying, is it wrong when we give our women money? You see, that very line, it threw him off because he could not defend it when he got to Clement Manyatela. Manyatela latched on it. But all the other things, I'm being honest with you, this is why I'm telling you that proving corruption is very difficult. All the other things that he speaks about, they are on par, they are on top, and I agree with him. A tender was issued, and don't misconstrue what I say. I agree with him with me saying he's innocent. I'm saying I agree with him. And I agree with the fact that it's very difficult to prove corruption because a lot of people are going to get off this ledge. The ANC, no matter how much schools they do, this is the problem they're going to face to get rid of people they deem as corruption. Pule Mabe did not hold a gun and demand a tender. A tender was issued. Enviro Mobi went through that. They did it legally. They were given that thing legally. And they, Enviro Mobi, begged the department, according to him, begged the department to say, hey, Muna, your cars are here, come and take them. Where do you want us to take the cars? He says, I can't answer what they did. But the long and short of it is, he was sent to go and buy cars that are environmentally friendly, and he went and bought cars. And if you want to put spies, you'll put spies on with those Enviro Mobis where they were kept. There were hailstorms, and after a hailstorm you need to repair. And well, I don't want to say at what cost the repairs normally goes to, because he procured those things and he needed to give them the disc licenses. I mean, they have to go to an e-notice system, and when the venue for keeping those things it started becoming difficult, they had to source money from government to say, hey, Pela, those things I need to pay for them where I'm keeping them, and money was splashed, and so no matter what people see, you can't say to Pule Mabe and Enviro, maybe by the way, Pule Mabe says he's no longer the director there, and his wife, he can't quantify what his wife was doing. It doesn't matter. Like I say, I've listened to Pule Mabe saying this a lot of time. Pule Mabe speaks very well. He's clear he did not do any corruption. The onus of proof lies with those guys. So, for example, he speaks about administrative errors, accounting irregularities, the terms, this fruitful expenditure, and what. Those are the things that they can get him. But where they can prove corruption, I do not know. I honestly do not know. Unless they've got other things, and we'll see it in court. But Pule Mabe and other ANC comrades are going to be very difficult to be convicted. And there's the problem the ANC faces, not taking people to school. You can't take it.
From the very onset, Enviro Mobi had since said and has spoken, and this is on record, asking the department to take possession of the vehicles. So
why did the department not take possession of the vehicles that you paid for?
The department will be best placed to respond. I thought
How many letters did you write to the department? How did you escalate the matter? I mean, it's weird to me, Pule, that so much money is spent on the goods.
Yes.
And the goods, it's like pala. Someone comes and buys cattle for so much money, and then they don't come to collect the cattle, or the delivery is not being made. Well, it doesn't really make sense. And as the company, then what do you do with the money that you've been paid? Do you use that money?
No, but remember this, and now it brings us to a very interesting point. That has been done. I saw the statement of the SIU, and what they were seeking to do was to really establish the trace of money. What monies went, what monies did when they landed into accounts.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
We'll get to that later, but it's very important just to brush it so that when we come in,
I want to understand what you did as Enviro Mobi.
Well,
so if I've been paid monies the department is clearly refusing to come collect what they've paid for 2 years, what I would do is probably just return the money.
No, I think, Clement, maybe the word you are using, refuse, might not be entirely accurate.
What's the appropriate word?
Well,
you're saying you've written them letters and they were not responding?
No, I'm not saying they are not responding. We wrote to them, EnviroMobi wrote to them letters because EnviroMobi had a team. And the team of EnviroMobi was interacting with the department. I was made aware of all of the facts by EnviroMobi because when this thing was now hitting public attention, requiring that I also make and submit responses to the SIU, I needed to also make sure that I'm clarified more fully about the facts. One, when EnviroMobi, and this is to the best of my understanding, so they would not have just simply returned the money because the cars were procured, the cars were bought. So now when you return the money, what do you do with the 200 cars?
What explanation did they get from the government? Monies that your wife received. Your wife was the director of Invest Trading. She received 4.5 million rand from EnviroMobi.
Yes.
Why did she receive money from your company?
Because it's not EnviroMobi, it's not my company, by the way. Let me correct that.
Didn't you start that company?
I started it, but
so what do you mean? It's not your company.
But there was a director when I resigned as a director.
Yeah, but that can still remain your company. There are people who...
Okay, that's fine. I'm just placing it on record that EnviroMobi is not my company. I've since resigned, but we were, as in my company called Riverlocks, were trading actively with EnviroMobi because EnviroMobi was buying the vehicles. Tleki, my wife, who owns Invest, basically provided a number of services.
Like what?
Remember that those things will be detailed in court when they are ventilated. She has got invoices on all those services. Unfortunately, up until when we were charged, my wife never knew that she's going to be called on this thing. If the SIU had, the same way they invited us to answer certain questions, should have clarified them. There was nothing being concealed. EnviroMobi did not work under a tree. EnviroMobi worked from an office. EnviroMobi photocopied documents. EnviroMobi was provided all
so what
other...
services did your wife provide to EnviroMobi?
Well, I think that question will clarify in court. Well,
you can't tell me that your wife is a chartered accountant or was giving consultancy services to maybe look at the engine of those vehicles.
No.
You don't want to talk about that?
Don't worry. She did provide a service. She's a charged person. She may prefer to answer these questions herself.
Outside court, you said that why are they criminalizing us giving monies to our wives?
Yes, I asked that question.
Is this the money you were giving to your wives?
No. So basically, Clement, let's start here. I think because we are going too far, you are starting with what monies do when they get into the account. Let's first establish, were these monies a source of a crime? Certainly no. If EnviroMobi did not win a contract with GDAT to provide certain services that its associate companies would have provided for the furtherance and fulfillment of the contract that it had, EnviroMobi would not have received money from GDAT. Let's start there. Why did EnviroMobi receive money from GDAT?